What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be looking at potential replacements for Rick Wagner, who we released today. So let's get this thing started, okay? And I was prepared. I already knew a lot of players that I was going to talk about when this happened, if it did happen, because I wanted to see Rick Wagner released. You know, there's no hate to Rick Wagner, but I felt like it was time to move on and we could get a better replacement and kind of really help out that offensive tackle spot, which I felt like was a huge need this offseason. And the Detroit Lions actually did it. They released Rick Wagner, and I was like, let's get it. So you guys saw my reaction. I was a little excited. But like I said, Rick Wagner has been released, which saved us about $6 million, $6.1 million according to ESPN, $6.1 million in cap space, which is obviously a good thing, right? More money, the better. We also saved money for releasing Stack Harrison, so now that's a big hole, and now right tackle's a big hole. We're going to let Graham Glasgow walk, most likely, so now that's a big hole. Offensive line needs some help, all right, especially the right side. Left side, it's okay, and you know, the center position, we're good. Right side, though, yeah, we need some help over there, especially with letting Graham Glasgow walk. Now, I felt like the Detroit Lions possibly could have tried to just re-sign Graham Glasgow with the money that saved, but, you know, I'm not exactly what happened there, but they're not going to, so we'll just kind of forget about that potential situation. We're going to be talking about Rick Wagner replacement. So there's really four options here. We're going to be not really talking about one. What is that? Okay, well, one option we're not really going to be talking about, and that is trading. I'm not really going to be talking about trading in this video. If you guys want to see a video for that, I'm thinking of doing a video of, like, you know, potential trade targets for Lions and just throwing in different players there that can fill different needs. Haven't done that yet, but I'm thinking about doing it. If you guys want to see it, let me know. But we're really going to be looking at three other main options, which is in-house, free agency, and the draft. We're going to start off with in-house because it's a pretty simple one, and there's really only two options that I see for potential in-house options to replace Rick Wagner. I keep saying Graham Glasgow, Rick Wagner. It's either Terrell Crosby, who was a backup who can play a lot of different positions. You want to talk about versatility. Terrell Crosby actually wasn't awful last season. He didn't come in a lot. He only played in 397 snaps, which is actually not too bad. He had a 62.4 Pro Football Focus grade, which actually was higher. Yes, it was higher than Rick Wagner's, but not higher than Taylor Decker's. So stop with all the Taylor Decker hate, okay? Calm down on that. He's not that bad. He did have 7 penalties and he allowed 2 sacks, but that is your first in-house option. The Detroit Lions could be planning to do that. They could have already decided that's what they're going to do, and maybe they'll just get someone behind him. I wouldn't be too bad about that, but again, I wouldn't be too excited about that exactly at the same time. I would like to get a really good replacement to protect Matthew Stafford, and the other one would be Bo Benshaw, who we didn't really see any of. He's more of a guard, I feel like, out of Wisconsin, who we picked up as an undrafted free agent last season. I don't think he's necessarily a replacement option, but I did want to point him out just because he is here. And, you know, Joshua Garnett, guard. So, yeah, there's not really any other options but Terrell Crosby. So it's either Terrell Crosby or it's going through free agency in the draft, which is what we're really going to be focusing on. First off, we're going to start off with free agency. Now, I'm going to be talking about free agents that can come in and be really, really good for us. Guys that are at the top echelon, I think that's how is that the right word? Is there a T at the end of that? I don't know. Guys that are at the very tippity top of the best tackles that we could possibly bring in at right tackle position for a replacement for Rick Wagner. Now, I'm not going to be looking at many of the, you know, okay, like, he's all right. Like, not those kind of guys. Because if I'm looking at those kind of guys, I'd rather just have Terrell Crosby start at that point, honestly. Like, why go get an okay player? Like, nah, we got 6.1 mil. Let's go get a good player. Or you go in the draft, which I'm okay with, once again. Because I feel like Terrell Crosby gives us that opportunity to say, okay, we can take a risk. Because worst case, we can rock with Terrell Crosby. What I mean by risk is more, you know, there is some risk in free agency, but I feel like there's also a risk in the draft, right? Because you don't know what the players are going to be. If you didn't have Terrell Crosby to back up Rick Wagner, you can't take that risk. It's way harder to take a risk because now you're at the position where it's like, okay, if this doesn't work, we're not going to have a right tackle, and we're already losing our right guard. Terrell Crosby gives them an advantage, and they're able to look around and potentially take a risk, and then worst comes to worst, you start a guy like Terrell Crosby next season. But starting off with free agency, the top guy, the guy that everybody's probably waiting for, is Jack Conklin. I don't know if he's a thumbnail or not, but Jack Conklin's a baller, okay? He's the best, probably the best tackle that's going to be available in free agency. I put him really high on my big boards. Like I said, I did revise that. I told you, and I actually haven't put that video up, but I did revise the big board. Okay, that'll be coming at some point. Anyways, the big board, though, like, he's way up there because he's such a good offensive tackle. Now, he's a run-blocking specialty type of tackle, all right? Plays the right tackle position from Tennessee. He's only 26 years old, which is, like, crazy because a lot of offensive tackles are old. Like, they're older guys. I mean, Jason Peters is 38 years old and he's still playing well. But Jack Conklin's 26, and he's still playing well. Like, not still playing well, but he is playing well. Oh, he's set to get that big payday, obviously, which kind of stinks for us. But we could be willing to pay it. Again, he's like a run specialty type of guy, but he still can protect in the pass, because otherwise he wouldn't be known as one of the best tackles available. He could get better at it, but again, he's just a really good tackle all around. Really really good when it comes to run blocking, which is obviously awesome because we could definitely use that to help the run game. Now, I want to spend big money when it comes to a tackle. For me, I feel like the Lions are going to do that. I have a feeling the Lions are not focusing on guard or, stuff like that. I think they're going to be focusing on the tackles. I think they want to have a really good tackle to protect Matthew Stafford, which is smart because tackles are where most of your sacks comes from. You think about the tackle position, they're going against these crazy pass rusher, edge rushers all the time. That's where your sacks come from. So having a really good tackle is very important. A guy like Jack Conklin would be perfect. You keep him around. He's not going to degress or get any worse because he's still young. He's just going to be a heck of a player. Now, his market value is $15 million a year. Personally, you might sound like, oh my gosh, like what? Personally, I would pay that. I would not be mad if the Lions said, here you go, hit $15 million a year. Now, you may be thinking I'm crazy here, but think about it. We saved $6.1 million from Rick Wagner. So it's like a $9 million deal then for the season. Think about it. It's like a $9 million deal for this season. And for a guy like Jack Conklin, it's 100% worth it because you're going to lock him up for multiple years. You can lock up Taylor Decker and him. You got your tackles, you got your center, and boom, the guard position, I just don't think the Lions are going to focus on it too much. And you can't have everything perfect because you're going to run out of money at some point. But Jack Conklin would be a really good place to start. Next up is Brian Bulaga. Brian Bulaga is interesting because he was with Green Bay, which is, kind of nice taking a player away from them because we took TJ Lang and he did good for us. TJ Lang did good. Brian Bulaga could be the next guy. Now, he's not the youngest. He is 31 years old. However, he is graded out very, very well when it comes to playing tackle. The only concern is his injuries. If it wasn't for injuries, you almost could make a case he's the best tackle available. Almost. I mean, yes, he's older, but you almost make that case because offensive linemen and defensive linemen can be pretty old and still ball. He is 31 years old. Not too bad when it comes to trenches. But he had a 77.8 Pro Football Focus grade. Very good player when it comes to both run and pass blocking. He did allow 4 sacks, which isn't bad because he played in a lot of snaps for the Green Bay Packers. And he's a good player. The problem is the injuries are what's really concerning. So if the Lions don't want to get a guy that's potentially injury prone, they don't have to. But again, this is an option because the Lions can take this risk with having Terrell Crosby. If he goes down, you have a solid backup behind him. If he's not down, he's going to be a really good tackle. His market value is $10.8 million, so definitely a lot cheaper. He's take that 6.1 you saved. It's like basically a $5 million deal. I mean, come on, man. Does it get any better than that? And especially when he comes to us and we win a Super Bowl, and then, you can be looking at that Packers saying, I don't know why I did that. And then finally, I'm going to go with Jason Peters. Now, I'm going to keep it short here. This guy's 38 years old and he's still playing at a high level. Don't know how he's doing it. Tom Brady of tackles. I really don't know. But now let's talk about the draft a little bit, okay? Now, there's definitely other guys that you could look at when it comes to tackle. The guys that are solid. Marcus Gilbert, DeMar Dotson. There's a lot of guys out there, and I will touch on those a little bit. Like Marcus Gilbert. He's 32 years old. He's coming off a $4.8 million contract. Not very expensive. Obviously cheaper than what Wagner we saved with. Obviously than what he was prepared to get, which was $9 million this season. He had a 69.6 Pro Football Focus grade, and he only allowed 1 sack. I mean, come on, man. That's pretty beautiful. DeMar Dotson, who was with the Bucks, $4 million average is what I'm thinking. He had a 71 Pro Football Focus grade. However, he did allow 5 sacks, but he played in a lot of snaps. Yes, there's a lot of options out here when it comes to tackle, and the Lions are going to be fine. They have a deep tackle group when it comes to free agency, but I really would like to go top end. However, now you're thinking draft. Okay, what if the Lions wait till the draft? Well, the group may even be deeper. Okay, let's just listen to some of these names here. First of all, this may be the deepest tackle group we've seen when it comes to the first round. I don't know because I don't have numbers to back that up, but I'm just saying what I'm saying here. The tackle group is ridiculous. We could see 4 tackles go in the first round. 4 of the 32 players could be an offensive tackle. For me, Tristan Wirfs can play guard as well, but with what the Lions need, I guess he could go play tackle. In the first round, you would have options like Mekhi Becton, who was just a freak at the combine. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, this guy's 6'7", who obviously could help protect Matthew Stafford. Tristan Wirfs, who could play a little bit of guard, more tackle though, out of Iowa. Very good player once again. You have Jedrick Wills, who some people think is the best tackle. Andrew Thomas, who at one time was looked at as best tackle, kind of fell down a little bit. Those are 4 guys that I think are going to go in the first round. Maybe one slips to the second round, and we could take him at 35, and that'd be even better, obviously. But I think these are options where the Lions trade back in the first round, acquire maybe a first round pick, or maybe a second round pick, and they, depending on how late the pick is, the Lions could be looking at tackle. I mean, this is a legitimate option now that you have gotten rid of Rick Wagner, because now you're thinking, okay, maybe I save the $6.1 million and give it to defensive players, and in the draft we go get a tackle because we know we have Terrell Crosby behind him, and he is our safety option, safety net, worst case if one of these draft picks don't work out. But we might as well try it. Maybe we go first round tackle depending on how far we can trade back. Obviously, you don't want to take one at 3. I wouldn't love that, but again, you have a lot of opportunities with Terrell Crosby, and this is why getting rid of Rick Wagner at this point is not a bad move. I know some people are like, oh, what are we going to do now? We're okay. This is actually a good time because we still do have Crosby as a safety net for the Detroit Lions. Now, in the second round, there's still some really good options. Josh Jones is a good option. Austin Jackson is a good option. Isaiah Wilson is a good option. Or is it Cleveland, who I think is actually going to fall the third or fourth round. I think that's how these guys are going to fall because there's so many. Prince Tegawanku, I think will go like number 50 to the Rams. I don't know. I just always had him going there to the Rams on the mock draft. I believe they had pick number... Oh, no, 50 is the Bears. Hold up. They got 48. They got something like that. They got some. I don't remember exactly. But either way, free agency and the draft, we had tons and tons of options. And I just kind of want to make it clear that we have the ability to take a small risk here because we have a guy that's solid in Crosby. He's no world beater. He's not your guy you probably want starting. I mean, we could, but he's not the guy that you want starting. But it allows you to take an opportunity, maybe a risk. Maybe you go a third-round tackle. It doesn't matter. But again, if you're trying to get an instant starter, you're probably going first round to second round, not much later than that, because that's more realistic you're going to starter. Or you go spend money in free agency, big money like Conklin, and I would absolutely love that. So there are some options. Obviously, trade could be an option. In-house could be an option, like I mentioned. You guys let me know what you think. But again, I still do like the Rick Wagner move. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'm out.